Welcome to the Shootin' Show. Stand by for shots fired.
Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, and welcome again to this week's Shootin' Show. We're so glad to have you. We're hearing from so many new people around the country, and believe me, we appreciate every last one of you who watch our program. We are getting our Bullet Express catalogs out. We've had a lot of orders from people on things, and we do appreciate that because everything you buy from us helps our project here on the Shootin' Show. We're going to be introducing you to some of the people that are working with us that some of you will be talking to on the telephone, and our advertising man, Frank Baggett, is working with a number of companies now around the country. We're really so pleased just to be here. So, you know, as I like to say, we've got a great show for you today. Let's open another Shootin' Show. Now, friends, this gun looks a lot like a Ruger 1022 semi-automatic 22 long rifle, but in fact it is not. It is a Crosman 1077, and it approximates the size and certainly the feel and looks of the extremely popular Ruger 1022. If you have a 1022, which a lot of us do, you can literally take this gun and practice on air rifle type targets. You can for those times you don't have time to go to the range, or you don't want to go out in the woods or out somewhere in the open and shoot a cartridge firearm or a powdered firearm, this is just the ticket. You can shoot these guns in your basement or in your backyard as long as you have a safe bullet stop. Now, you'll notice I am wearing eye protection because these are guns. They operate on air, but in fact they are guns, and it shoots the 17 caliber, the .177 pellet, and this is a really unique concept. You have a little clip here that holds, and we'll show you this up close in just a moment, but a clip that goes in a magazine, if that makes any sense. It certainly does on this little gun, and it holds 12, and all you have to do is pull the trigger. It has a crossbar safety in front of the trigger guard, and again, we'll look at that closer in just a moment. But this is such a neat concept. I do a little practicing with an air rifle. There are times when I can't come down here to the range for one reason or another, or a perfectly good reason is they're just a lot of fun to shoot. There's no noise, of course, no recoil, and this works on the little cylinder, and these are Crosman copperhead cylinders that we have, and it goes in the front here, and you get about 4 clips full, about 48 rounds, because each clip holds 12 pellets. You get about 48 or so shots per gas tube. It is inexpensive to shoot these things, and in fact I think Kurt has an air rifle or air pistol that he practices with sometime on his lunch break, because the principle of marksmanship is just the same. If you can shoot one of these, you can darn sure shoot something that's more powerful, a cartridge type firearm. So these are great training aids for starting someone off, for a child or a woman who is recoil sensitive or whatever. Teach them the basics about marksmanship with one of these. It is a great training and teaching tool. And as I said, I'm wearing eye protection, no hearing protection, because they just make almost no noise at all. But definitely eye protection, because one of these pellets, if it had a ricochet against a steel target or something, it would be awful tough on your eyes. So this is a chance we don't take. We always wear eye protection regardless of what we're shooting. Absolutely. Anyway, let's take a look up close at just how the gun operates. Now then, friends, you can see we've taken the magazine out of the gun, and here is your little clip. Now, we're calling this a magazine. It might more properly be termed a clip holder, but here's how it works. You have a little lock here. We'll push this back, and of course just take our clip out. And this is the rear of the clip, and what we'll do is we have a little pellet here and load it with the flat part to the front. You want the base, the open base, to the rear. What we'll do is load all 12 of them, and then we'll put it back in our clip holder or magazine, and then we will lock it in place like so. And what happens, this turns as you pull the trigger just like on a revolver, but for the sake of simplicity we're going to call it a semi-automatic because it works in a similar fashion. Now then, friends, we've loaded our little clip here, and catch my gas too before it runs off the table there. Now then, do not put the magazine into the air gun until you've already charged or put a new cylinder in to charge it. Now, we've been shooting this one, so we'll take the old cylinder out. You just unscrew the piece here that goes in the front of the stock beneath the barrel, take it out, and of course then you can take out your spent CO2 cartridge, and then we'll put a fresh one in, and it goes right in place like so, and then we'll put the plug back in it, and be sure and get it straight there so it's not cross-threaded. Now then, and now we'll just screw it in. With a moderate amount, you don't want to tighten it down to the point it breaks, certainly, but you want a good firm seal. All right, now then, we'll place our little clip-loaded magazine here, and you have to jiggle it a little bit. And just like a magazine-fed rifle, it'll fit right in place and snap into place. And of course, we're sure we'll apply our safety to be sure, because you know we chronographed this little thing the other day with a fresh CO2 cartridge, and believe it or not, it went over 500 feet per second. Now, friends, I tell you what, you can take headshots on squirrels, and these guns have very fine adjustable sights. They can be scoped, I'm sure, but primarily I think most of us would use this with open sights. But you can actually hunt small game with this with a fresh cylinder, because they are accurate enough, they're easy to shoot well. You could certainly, for pests such as rats or something in a maybe a barn or a corn crib, and of course always wear this eye protection, because if you're shooting inside a building like that, you darn sure don't want to ricochet. But for things like some people have some types of small birds that are pests, and these guns just don't make a fuss. They're so very quiet. They are accurate, and they are useful, not only as a plinking or training aid, but also for this type of small varmints or pests we're talking about. They'll darn sure do it. Well, let's shoot the little gun, and let's just see what it'll do. Now, friends, let me remind you, this is not a toy. These are, in fact, real guns, and I don't think that children should have these unsupervised. They have to know all the rules of safe firearms handling, because if kids were playing with one of these and it had an inadvertent discharge or an accidental discharge, it could darn sure hurt someone or tear something up. So these are definitely not toys. They're serious implements. They're serious things that pieces of equipment that need to be taken with all the safety rules we normally would use. Well, we've got our target out here, a paper target at about 10 yards, and about 30 feet is as far as I like to shoot one of these, because you're not talking about that much horsepower, shall we say. But these little guns can be surprisingly accurate. So what you do when you're not shooting great distances, you just go for smaller targets. So it's simple as can be. So let's see what kind of 5-shot group we get on our paper target here. All right, push our safety off, and
you know, I've been using this old-fashioned coffee pot for more years than I care to remember. Truth is, sometimes you just can't improve on the original. Hi, I'm Grits Gresham, but adding a good scope to your favorite hunting rifle is one improvement that's a big plus in my book. Sure, choosing the right scope and having it mounted properly isn't as easy as flipping a flapjack. Be sure you get the job done right. See the real pro in your community.
Now, friends, this is 5 shots from 30 feet, and that's a 1/2-inch group. Of course, I would need to adjust the sights. We just got the little gun. I haven't had a chance. I was aiming it right here. I need to adjust my sights, and of course they are adjustable, but that just goes to show just how accurate these little guns are, what they will do. 5 shots in a half-incher. In fact, that's a little bit less than half-inch. In fact, tremendous accuracy, you know, for what we're talking about. Now, friends, another thing we can do with these little guns, we have some miniature or air rifle or pellet silhouettes over here on our fence section there. So let's just let's see if I can hit them from about 10 yards out with our Crossman 1077. Darn good title, if you ask me. Now, friends, you can tell these small targets. Again, I'm at 30 feet away. Let's see if I can hit that chicken right there. I don't know. I tell you what, I can hardly see it from here. Push our safety off, and well, I had a little little good luck on that. Let's try the chicken or turkey, whichever. Okay, we'll go for the pig. Whoops, had a little miss there. Can't explain that. Strictly your shooter, not the gun. All right, and one more, we'll shoot the ram. Okay, great fun. Friends, these guns are really invaluable for starting off someone who is not familiar with firearms, someone who may have had a fear of firearms in the past. Certainly a great gun to start kids off with as far as shooting. A rifle would go. This is tremendous training. And one more thing. They're just, I tell you what, if you go down to the store and happen to buy one of these, be sure and get plenty of pellets and plenty of gas cylinders, because you're going to find it's an awful lot of fun just shooting. All right.
Awesome firepower. Precision rifle skills. That's what you'll find, along with lots more, in these 2 great new videos, Marine Corps Firepower and Marine Corps Silent Drill Team. See an actual firepower demonstration of the latest Marine Corps weapons of the infantry, including the M220 Echo-Tow missile system, grenade launchers, mortars, and lots more. Plus the Marine Corps Silent Drill Team, an incredible display of precision rifle handling skills by the most respected and admired rifle squad in the world. 2 great new videos for one low price, just $19.95 through this special TV offer. Marine Corps Firepower and Marine Corps Silent Drill Team. 2 videos for the price of one. Call and order yours right now.
Call toll-free with your credit card ready, 1-800-942-8273. By ordering today, you'll receive this 32-page gun video catalog absolutely free. So order now, 1-800-942-8273. Call now.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
The purpose of this program is to point out and evaluate the key characteristics that you should consider when procuring a double-action semi-automatic pistol. This video is designed to serve as a guide for agencies and individuals interested in purchasing such handguns. The terms double action and single action refer to the action of the trigger. On a single action automatic, the trigger performs only one function, the release of the hammer or striker. On a double-action automatic, the trigger performs two functions. It brings the hammer to the full cock position and then releases it. The term trigger cocking is a good descriptive term of how a double-action trigger functions. By presenting information about the various factors involved in choosing a firearm, we hope to help our viewers make an informed choice. Which firearm is best? The answer to that question depends on many variables, such as the use, constraints, and performance levels that are acceptable to the purchaser. The fact is, what is best for you or your agency may not be best for someone else or another agency. We recommend that you take a systematic approach by writing down all of the characteristics you desire in your double-action automatic. Start with the chambering, weighing the pros and cons of each cartridge. Then move to the safety operating systems and do the same. Since not all chamberings are available in all operating systems, it may be necessary to change the caliber of choice if the operating system is deemed more important. After examining the chambering and operating systems, look at the remaining choices and their respective characteristics. Once you have weighed all of the factors, including cost, the best choice for you will become evident. Since new models and variations are constantly being introduced, we've restricted our coverage to those pistols that are in actual production or that are known to be scheduled for production in the immediate future. Unavoidably, some makes and models were not included because they do not have a significant market presence. We've also chosen to limit coverage to pistols chambered for the 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 10mm, and 45 ACP rounds. The marketplace has clearly indicated that the double-action system, or a closely related unique trigger system, is the trend for the foreseeable future. Therefore, our coverage is further limited to the double-action autos and such unique trigger systems as the Heckler & Koch P7 and the Glocks. Many factors have been taken into consideration in evaluating each weapon series. Chambering is sometimes the only major difference from one model or manufacturer to the next. Therefore, you must be aware of the various characteristics of the four chamberings under discussion. This will enable you to make an informed decision on which weapon best suits your needs. The 9mm Parabellum cartridge. Each type of ammunition has its own pros and cons. For the 9mm Parabellum, the advantages are that it has the smallest size and weight of the four chamberings discussed. This allows for its use in the smallest, lightest, and most compact pistols. It also allows for the largest magazine capacity and the lowest and most easily controlled recoil. The 9mm is used in the widest variety of guns and with the largest variety of operating systems. This cartridge size has the widest selection and availability of ammunition, including high-velocity plus P loads. The 9mm Parabellum has a flat trajectory and is available in a wide variety of SMGs and carbines. The disadvantages of this cartridge include its tendency to over-penetrate and become ineffective with full metal jacket bullets. The 9mm is dependent on bullet expansion to give a sufficiently large permanent wound cavity for incapacitation. A too quick bullet expansion can result in insufficient penetration for incapacitation. This round has much less energy than the 10mm. The 40 Smith & Wesson. The advantages of this cartridge include it is available in the 9mm size frame handguns. It allows for a larger magazine capacity than most 10mm or 45s. Even so, it still has the general ballistics of the FBI 10mm or 45 ACP round, typically 950 to 975 feet per second for the 180 grain hollow point. The 40 S&W has a wider and heavier bullet than a 9mm. Therefore, it is not as dependent on expansion to achieve a large permanent wound channel. The recoil from the 40 S&W is relatively mild, and this round allows for a smaller grip than the 10mm and 45 ACP in large capacity guns. The disadvantages of the 40 Smith & Wesson include it has a lower magazine capacity than the 9mm and less energy than the 10mm full loads. The 40 S&W bullet weighs less than the 45 ACP load and has a smaller diameter. The 40 S&W is believed by some to be the police round of the future. The 40 S&W is designed as a compromise cartridge. It approaches 45 ACP effectiveness in 9mm size guns and a magazine capacity somewhere in between the 9mm and the 45 ACP. The 10mm auto cartridge. The advantages of the 10mm auto cartridge include it has the highest power of any cartridge suitable for use in normal-sized auto pistols. In fact, the 10mm full load has more energy at 100 yards than the 45 ACP has at the muzzle. It has the flattest trajectory, the potentially best stopping power, and the best potential for armor-piercing bullets. As with the 40 S&W, this wider and heavier bullet is not as dependent on expansion as the 9mm to achieve a large wound channel and penetration. This cartridge offers two levels of performance. One is the same as the 40 Smith & Wesson. Another lies between the .357 and .41 Magnum revolver cartridges. The 10mm auto is the most suitable for use in hunting up to medium-sized game, such as deer or wild pig. It also allows for a slightly larger magazine capacity than the 45 ACP. The disadvantages include a heavy recoil and muzzle blast with the heaviest loads. The 10mm cartridge requires a large 45 size frame and a relatively heavy slide. No compact version is available or is likely to become available. It allows for a smaller magazine capacity than most 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson pistols. The distribution and selection of ammunition is not as good as the 9mm or 45 cartridge. There is currently only a small selection of handguns available that can chamber this round, and the high-pressure loads are tough on the guns. The 10mm auto is unavailable in submachine guns at this time, except for the H&K MP5. The 45 ACP cartridge. The advantages of the 45 ACP cartridge include it is the only auto cartridge that offers good stopping power with full jacketed bullets. It is the least dependent of all auto cartridges on bullet expansion. Recoil for this cartridge is relatively mild. There is a wide distribution and selection of this type of ammunition. A single column magazine allows for a smaller grip than the high-capacity 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson guns. With the extremely powerful plus P loads, this cartridge approaches the ballistic performance of the hotter 10mm loads. The 45 ACP rates high in both reputation and intimidation factors. It has a mild recoil, muzzle blast, and muzzle flash with standard loads. A compact version is available. The 45 ACP has three main disadvantages. It has the lowest magazine capacity, a limited selection of guns, and it requires a large size frame.
Now, friends, we've been watching part of the Man Stoppers / selecting the right double action pistol tape, and this is available from Paladin Press. We've only seen a few minutes of it. They really go into depth on all sorts of safety procedures, operating procedures on semi-automatic pistols, and we thought this would be really useful for a lot of our viewers. If you would like to have this tape, or in fact what you need to do, you need to call Paladin Press and get one of their catalogs, because they have some of the most interesting literature and tape file that you can imagine. So their number is, get a pencil now, call them at 1-800-872-4993. That's Paladin Press. Call them and get a catalog or order something if you'd like. This was the Man Stoppers selecting the right double action pistol tape we watched part of today, and tremendous tape, much, much longer. Of course, we just excerpted it. So Paladin Press, 1-800-872-4993.
Hi, I'm Bill McIntyre with another update from Capitol Hill here at NRA headquarters in Washington, D.C. There's a new study out which has been published in the New England Journal of Medicine. The study was supposed to look at the protective value of firearms in the home, but from beginning to end, from premise to conclusion, the study is wrong. The so-called study only looked at victims who died. It ignored those who survived. It is impossible to measure the protective value of firearms in the home when more than 99% of defensive firearms use involves no homicides at all. In fact, of the more than 2 million self-defense uses of firearms estimated each year, a shot is fired in less than 1% of the cases. The so-called study didn't use a representative sample. Of the victim households studied, half had arrest records and a third used illegal drugs. Hardly representative of mainstream America, let alone mainstream gun owners. Finally, the objectivity of the so-called study is questionable at best. The funding for the study came from the Centers for Disease Control, which has supported handgun bans for almost a decade. Buried in the so-called study is that domestic violence is a far better predictor of household homicide than firearms ownership. But an official with the Centers for Disease Control last year said money for gun research is a high priority, while funding for domestic violence research is not. And frankly, that's what's dangerous, not lawful firearms ownership. I'll be back next week with another update from Capitol Hill.
When anti-hunters plant poison dog food in your favorite hunting spot,
you'll say, where's the NRA?
when they spike your access roads, you'll say, where's the NRA? And when they ban your hunting guns, you'll say, where was the NRA?
Join the NRA now to protect your hunting heritage and defeat the anti-hunting agenda.
When they close the seasons in your hunting lands,
You'll say, where's the NRA?
help protect the hunter's heritage of wildlife conservation. Join the NRA.
Call now and get a year of great magazines, a no-fee Visa card, a Hunter Orange NRA cap, special insurance benefits, plus access to world-class hunter safety and skills training.
You see, when hunting is gone forever, your son won't ask, where was the NRA? He'll ask, where were you?
Where were you?
Where were you? Where were you?
So come on, join the NRA now.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about our black box for a moment. You know, I can't tell you what's inside it. And if we've been talking about this recently, we cannot on national television tell you the things that are here, but if you're concerned about your family's security, if you're concerned about your home, your car, yourself, your security, you know, there are some places that we can't always take a firearm, and some of the things in this box here can help you. Well, let me introduce you to Diane. And she is new to our staff, and she will be the one, since I can't tell you what's in the box, she will be the one to call you back. All you have to do is call us and leave your name and phone number and address, and Diane here will be more than happy, or someone on her staff. And she's very kind and very understanding, and she knows her stuff about our security products. So she's a lovely person, and she will be just real happy to help those folks out there. Well, we appreciate everyone, their interest so much, and please forgive us now. We've had so many phone calls. We haven't, until Diane got some help here, we were not able to return all our calls nearly as quickly as we'd like. But she's on the way, so don't give up on our black box, please. And again, friends, this could literally save your life. It could save your family's life, your wife, your children, so many things offered here. If you care about your car, your home, those things that all of us have worked so hard for, well, some of these things can really help you. So please give us a call and leave your name and address and phone number, and Diane will get back to you just real soon. We're going to, pretty soon, we're going to be up to all same-day service, we hope, or within a very short period of time. Just hang in there with us. Our phone number is 800-895-7916 for the Bullet Express, also for black box information. 1-800-895-7916. And believe me, our entire staff, and Diane certainly has been a tremendous help to us. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Now, friends, you know, Soldier of Fortune magazine is tremendously interesting for someone who's been in the military, or if you just like military-type articles, or you want to know the truth about what's going on in the world. They have a tremendous magazine. Bob Brown and his entire staff are some of the nicest people we've ever met. For subscription information, call them at 1-800-877-5207. Again, 1-800-877-5207.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you'll notice I'm not wearing hearing protection, or in fact, for this minute, eye protection, because we're going to do something a little different on the program today. A lot of our people out there who happen to be gun hunters, also, the first part of the season, are also bow hunters. And I think this is a great way to sharpen your skills, to certainly if you're going out there and become a better woodsman, or someone who's better at stalking or trying to hunt a game animal, bow hunting is definitely well, I'd call it an expert's field, really, because I would be in the very bottom rung of the ladder myself, but it's something that a lot of you do have some interest in. So we have George here, and he's got a compound bow. And George, tell us a little bit about the bow here. What kind is it, and what kind of arrows we're going to shoot here?
Well, it's just a PSE, kind of a cheaper version bow, but it shoots all right for somebody just starting, you know.
Now, friends, you can see these sights here. In fact, what you have is you got them for different ranges. Is that right, George?
Yeah.
You have them set, of course, since you've got a much more pronounced trajectory than you would with a rifle bullet. These arrows have sort of a looping trajectory, and I think that your estimation of range would be extremely important. In fact, I think that's one thing that bow hunting can do to improve your rifle shooting, is it really makes you aware of distances, because this is really critical in bow hunting. And of course, today we just have some target arrows we're going to shoot here at the basic hay bale. But it's really amazing what can be done with a good bow and a good arrow and a little bit of skill. Some of those things that the folks used to do back there in Europe and England, that thing about splitting the arrow on a man's head, there was actually something to that. There were people that were actually good enough with these things to do it. As I heard Art Alpin say at an earlier time, the English especially started little kids off with bows, and one reason the king would have the county fairs or the local fairs was to encourage marksmanship, because the common people out there walking around were a good part of the army, if my understanding is correct, and they really had to start to become real proficient with the longbow. You had to start at a very young age. It took constant practice. Well, we're considerably better off with these compound bows. One, you have a power advantage, and of course, once you get past that first initial pull, then it becomes a little easier.
You can hold it.
You can hold it back a whole lot easier and wait for that shot. It'll be a whole heck of a lot easier than holding a longbow with 100 and no telling how many pounds pressure. But there is really something to this, and it is a great skill and a great sport. And from time to time, we're going to be doing some more things on the shooting show about things like this. So, heck, George, let's shoot a few arrows here. We got our intended hay bale out here with a paper target on it. So let's take a look at it. And of course, what we see happen here, friends, the arrow literally went all the way through the target in the hay bale there we have. But still, that's going to be a pretty good shot there. It's definitely going to be within the vital zone of, we're talking about deer. That's for the season that's open here, bow hunting for deer. And I think you'll see that is definitely within the vital zone. And let's take a look at our third shot here. And actually, it's a pretty good group, and certainly all within the vital areas of a game animal. Now, you know, friends, shooting at a hay bale is with a target on it is not quite the same thing. Am I correct on this, Noble?
You're right.
Well, so what we need to do, we have our official arrow shooter of the day, our official bow hunter, master bow hunter, might I add, Mr. George Smokey up here in a tree, and we have some targets over here on the ground. Now, Noble, how long have you been hunting with a bow?
Oh, about, I'd say a couple of years, really.
Well, do you find, of course, now, similar to a firearm, you got to work on your marksmanship, but now bow hunting can really make you a better gun hunter. Am I correct?
Yes, I have to say that.
Because you got to get out there, you got to stalk the deer. One, you don't have the ranges that you have with a firearm. And this is something a little bit new to me, and you know, we need to, here on the shooting show, we need to start covering a little bit more of things like this, because a lot of gun hunters are in fact bow hunters too. And it can give you a chance to really sharpen your skills for the gun seasons coming up. So what we're going to do, we have George up here in a climbing tree stand. And you know, friends, this is real important. It's one thing, and of course you saw us a little while ago, we shot the hay bale, and that's one thing. But when you get off the ground up here and you start shooting at angles from around them tree limbs, around the backside of the tree or whatever else, it changes perspective, huh?
That's right. Great deal.
Well, and we're going to give an example here of how if you owe it to the game animal to go out there and try and become the best hunter, or certainly as proficient with your bow as possible. I mean, none of us want to see a game animal that will be hit and injured and run off. And really, we have these balloons here, and tell you the truth, your vital area on a deer, the heart-lung area, is really not about the size of those balloons there, isn't it?
About that size, that's right.
So let's put on a little demonstration here of ways that you can practice for your bow hunting. Now then, friends, you see George here in the tree. He's in his hunting clothes because this is what he's going to be out in the woods with typically. He's wearing the same thing. He's got some arrows there on his bow that it's just like he's going through the motions for the real thing, because you can go out in a t-shirt and blue jeans and practice all day on a target, but it makes a lot of difference when you're actually up in the tree and in the stand and certainly shooting down an angle. So let's see what he's going to do here. Like you're going to get it. Now hold up, careful aim. Now, friends, that's good practice. You can see what he's doing. All right. And, friends, I cannot stress the importance of practice. Again, if you're out there going to hunt a game animal, it makes it a whole lot easier if you know what to expect by actually getting up in your stand or something similar to what you're going to hunt in, and take a few shots at some targets and just see how easy it is. And of course, when hunting season comes, it'll be so much better for you and the game animal both.
Friends, for the absolute best in monthly shooting magazines, turn to Shooting Times magazine. They have all sorts of excellent features on handguns, rifles, shotguns, and black powder by some of your favorite gun writers. Each month you'll find interesting articles on guns, shooting, reloading, and new products in the firearms industry, along with information on pending legislation of interest to all gun owners. For subscription information, call 1-800-727-4353. Shooting Times, the best there is.
Now, friends, the gun we're looking at the moment, we're double checking to be sure it's empty. This is the new Taurus PT-908. It is in 9mm chambering, and it is a compact model and is somewhat of a departure for Taurus. A lot of you are familiar with the 92 series Taurus. In fact, this is a PT-99. It has adjustable sights, and you can tell from the comparison of the size of the two guns that the PT-908 is quite a bit smaller. The 908 has an 8-round single-stack magazine, whereas the 92 series has the 15-round double-stack magazine. So this is, as I said, somewhat of a departure for Taurus, because most of the Taurus automatics in past years have been made pretty much on the Beretta principle. In fact, I understand that years ago Beretta had a military contract down in Brazil, and Taurus wound up buying the equipment and making these guns under some sort of license agreement. I believe I'm correct on that, from Beretta. They're very, very similar to the Beretta, with a couple of important differences. One, The Taurus has kept the frame-mounted safety. Now, personally, I prefer that because you can carry the guns, the 92 series, you can carry it cocked and locked as you would a single-action Colt, which is really great for match shooting. That's about the only time I ever carry one of these cocked and locked is if I'm in a match, because your trigger pull is more consistent. Rather than having to go from a long double-action trigger pull, you can just cock the hammer and apply the safety, and every shot is single action. So this certainly is a double action automatic, but it has the capability to be carried in the single action mode. I really do like these guns. They're open top, they're very clean in operation. It has a Walther type locking block, and just very fine guns. Taurus, the materials they use, their workmanship, and in the last 10 years or so, I think has really come up to a position of competition with any other gun company around the world, for that matter. But the new 908 is an entirely different handgun. Now, one thing it has in common with its bigger brother here is the same type of takedown. You've got a lever on the left-hand side of the gun, and we'll look at that in just a moment. But instead of being on the Walther principle, it is on a Browning type principle with the tilting barrel, similar to what we've all become accustomed to from guns from the Ruger and Colt and Browning and Sig and other things on the way it operates. So it has a completely enclosed slide except for the ejection port, and I would like to add it has a generous ejection port. It also has a decocker on another frame-mounted safety. Now, I really do like this feature. You have the option, you can cock the gun and carry it safety on, or you can decock it with the safety lever, just push it down. It's spring-loaded, it's ambidextrous, one on each side of the gun. You can carry it in the safety on, hammer down position, or hammer down, safety off, or in fact, as we mentioned a moment ago, the hammer's cocked and the safety is applied. So it is a very safe gun. From the way it's made, the surfaces are all very finely machined. It has excellent, and I'm going to say Novak type sights. They look somewhat like the Novak type sights that are on many guns now, especially on the Smith & Wesson line. But it's a different looking gun from Taurus. In fact, it looks a little bit like Sig. It is really nicely finished. I'll tell you what, Taurus is really doing some stuff in their finish now. They really have made some improvements in the last few years, where we used to say that Taurus was a real good gun for the money. Well, now I think people are just saying, well, the Taurus is just a real good gun. These guns come with a lifetime guarantee, so heck, you can shoot it and wear it out and send it back. They'll either fix it or give you another one. So I don't know. It's really a real strong marketing influence, I think, that Taurus has had in the last several years, and they are making a lot of guns now and importing them into this country. So let's take a look up close and let you see some of the differences in the new PT 908.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or television station. As you can tell, according to the palm of my hand here, it is really not a very large gun, but you can see how well the surfaces are all machined. They really do make a nice looking gun there at Taurus. And of course you can see here is your safety lever here, and of course we'll go ahead and cock it. We know that this gun is unloaded. We'll double check and triple check, but since it's cocked now, the way to decock it is just push the safety lever down,
and the hammer is blocked where it cannot hit the firing pin there. Of course, always point any decock type gun in a safe direction to do it. We just are not going to entrust our lives or our property to any mechanical device. We're going to also use our brain. But you can see here we have the magazine release like so, and it has an 8-round magazine. Of course, it'll carry 1 in the chamber for a total of 9, and we'll put the magazine back in. Here's your basic release. This is your slide release like so. We'll pull the slide back, and of course let the slide go forward. Here's the release there, and you can see the chamber here actually comes up into a recess in the slide. Now this is its type of locking. The takedown lever is right here. You just push the button and push here. Of course, we'll take our magazine out, but you can see where the slide will just come right off the frame. And you can see here we have a Browning type operating mechanism in the gun. Now then, friends, to illustrate our point, we've taken the barrel out of the PT-908, and you can see they have a cam type arrangement here. And on the PT-92/99, that series, this is the Walther system, which you have a block here that rides up and down, and of course this is cammed down by a piece there in the frame. So it's an entirely different mechanism, but I think that they're going to be real happy with it. Both of these systems work extremely well. I guess it just depends on what you're doing with it. Now, friends, one thing I like, it has holes in the magazine there. You can tell at all times just how many shells are left in your magazine. And one thing about the single column or single stack magazines, they are a little bit simpler in operation. Instead of the shells having to move up and sideways as on a double column magazine, which again, heck, John Browning pioneered that back in the 30s, or 20s, in fact, for that matter, probably. But, or in fact, some others may have too. I may stand to be corrected. Anyway, the single column magazines, the shell only has to go one way, and that's up. It does not go side to side. Now, on this little PT-908, it has fed a variety of ammunition pretty well. We had a couple of different types, and this is something that we need to mention. A lot of semi-automatic guns, not just handguns, but rifles too, will prefer certain types of ammunition. They'll prefer different bullet profiles. Some of them won't feed everything. So what we did, we polished the feed ramp on this little gun, so now it's feeding everything. But that's something that you need to do. You need to go out and shoot your semi-automatic. And I suppose today is semi-automatic day. Last week we had revolver day, so talking about semi-automatics this week. But anyway, you really need to go out and try several different kinds or types of ammunition in whatever caliber you're shooting, because they all will not perform the same. They will not all shoot to the same point of impact. Certainly not. Even the same bullet weights from a different manufacturer may not shoot to exactly the same point of aim. So this is something you need to do. There's no substitute for going out and shooting your gun and learning how it operates. And of course, these guns need to have any semi-automatic, don't care what it is. You need to go out and shoot a minimum of 200 rounds through it and familiarize yourself with it. Give the gun a chance to break itself in and let the surfaces mate to each other. Now, one thing that I can certainly recommend, and we're selling it through the Bullet Express, we have this Tetragun lube, which is probably the most, the slipperiest gun lube I have ever seen. And when you put it on in your gun's action or on your gun, especially in the action, it will literally slick it up. And this stuff has staying power like crazy. So you can buy that from us, Tetragun. We'll talk more about that later. Anyway, let's shoot our PT-908. Insert the magazine in the base just like so. And you know what to do. We'll pull that slide all the way to the rear and let it go. Do not, as I've said before, do not let it ease forward. And of course, we're going to decock it, push the lever down, decock it. So let's shoot it and let you look at it in my hands here briefly and get my hearing protection in, because any 9mm is going to be loud. Okay, I don't think you're going to see a lot of muzzle jump, but let's just see what you think. Our first shot will be double action, and each succeeding shot will be single action. From the rear position on the trigger, the hammer will be cocked as it cocks itself there. So all right, let's take a look, see what you think. Not too bad. Of course, the gun is small or smaller and reasonably light, and you do know it's gone off, but Of course, now the gun has told us it's ready to be reloaded. But we checked the velocity between the 908 and the larger PT99 here earlier. And of course, the PT99 has a 4.7 or 5 or so inch barrel, and the barrel on the PT908 is a little over 3.5 inches. But there wasn't as much difference. In some of the higher pressure ammunition, there was up to 100 feet per second difference, but in the standard velocity loadings, we only found about 40 or 50 feet per second difference, which I thought was pretty good. Both of these guns have shown excellent velocities. The Corbine ammunition, and again, if you want information on Corbine, call them at 1-800-6-CORBINE, C-O-R-B-O-N. So and tell Peter Pye, those folks up there, Peter is in charge of their company, tell them that you saw it on the shooting show, because Corbine is really a fabulous performer in 9mm. Other calibers too, but it'll really make a 9 stand up and take notice. Anyway, we had the Corbine 115 grain jacketed hollow point running over 1,300 feet per second out of this little gun, which makes it into, I'll tell you what, friends, a small powerhouse. That's no joke. Out of our larger PT 92/99 series, the same ammunition went over 14, so that's really hot, excellent performance. But the standard 124 grain 9mm ammunition was running about 1,150 out of this gun, which again we thought was very fine performance. So let's shoot it on our targets over here and just see how it does. All right, friends, let's start on our couple of steel plates here. Then we'll move over to our paper target and see how it does. All right, my hearing protection is in real good. Let's take a shot. Let's move over to the paper. For those of you who may have counted those holes, yes, I did put another bullet back in the chamber for a total of 8 shots there. Well, of course, I was just shooting roughly into the little circles at not a very fast pace, but you can easily see that these guns are certainly more than combat accurate. In fact, at 25 yards, we grouped this gun for 5 shots into about 2.5 to 3 inches, which is about as well as most of the 9mm perform. Certainly about as well as its larger brother there, the PT99. So it'll do that with a variety of ammunition, and of course with a better shooter on a better day, it may do better than that. This is a little different departure for Taurus. I would say they're off to a good start. Let me add that these guns do not have a magazine safety, and we're going to check it. We're going to unload it, in fact. See, remember, when you take the magazine out, the magazine may be empty, your gun still may be loaded. Let's check this one, in fact. And sure enough, it was. Of course, it was in a safe position. We know it's unloaded now, and we'll drop that hammer. But they do not have magazine safeties. They will fire with or without a magazine in the gun if one's in the chamber. Now, personally, I like that feature, but it is something that you have to be aware of. There are certain semi-automatics that have magazine safeties that will not fire without a magazine, but the Taurus will. They're a little more toward the military and application, I think. And again, it's a feature I like very much. What if you lose a magazine and you still need a gun to shoot? So anyway, they do not have magazine safeties. They're very well made. They darn sure deserve a look. The Taurus PT908.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to a gentleman who is, in fact, our advertising manager. This is Frank Baggett.
How do you do? Been working with Johnny for about 2 months now, and hope to be talking to you, every one of you.
And he still has
soon.
his mind. He still has his mind. Now, wait a minute, Frank, there's a million people out there. Don't say it. But seriously, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who would like to advertise with us here on the Shooting Show, Frank's the man.
It's a bargain.
Absolutely. And he will. This man makes more deals than Monty Hall ever thought about. You know what I mean? But sincerely, Frank is very easygoing. He's easy to work with. Now, he does like to collect a little money. I mean, you know, now don't run up a huge bill with us, because Frank will come after you. Seriously.
But you can call on weekends, whenever you feel like it.
And he really is doing a good job for us, and we're so pleased that he's working with us here. Frank's been around the gun industry for many years now.
Yeah. But I don't know much about him, but I've been around him.
Well, he knows enough, and he can certainly set up a very fine ad for anyone out there wanting to advertise with us. So,
let's hear from you.
Absolutely. You can call us at the Shootin' Show, area 318-222-8515, or you can write to us, of course, at our mailing address, 554 Kings Highway here in Shreveport, 71104. And you can talk direct to Frank. Ask the lady answers the phone there just to speak to our good friend.
Patch me right in.
That's right. And we'll run Frank down, and doggone it, he'll say you some advertising before you know it.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, friends, all of us as enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands of firearms bargains. Shotgun News, Post Office Box 669, Hastings, Nebraska. That zip code is 68902. The phone number is area 402-463-4589. For MasterCard or Visa subscriptions only. Now call them at 1-800-345-6923.
You know, reliving the past can sometimes open up a whole new future. Hi, I'm Grits Gresham, and take it from me, muzzle-loading guns offer a brand new kind of old-fashioned shooting fun. Muzzleloaders provide a uniquely different way to test your shooting skills, and you can also hunt during the special muzzle-loading season. So take a step back in time and give muzzleloading a try. And to make sure you get the right black powder gun and gear you need, see the real pro in your community.
And now let's watch a little steel challenge footage, courtesy mail order video.
2 years ago, here's Shirley Hamilton from El Cajon, California.
Shooters ready. Stand by. Shooters ready. Stand by. Shooters ready. Stand by.
Shirley Hamilton completes the cold speed option with a time of 8.07 seconds. Next up is the fastest wheel gun shooter to come around since Ed McGivern. Here is Team Smith & Wesson's Jerry Michelin.
Well, friends, you know, we've run out of time again. As bad as I hate to say it, we've run out of time again. There's just not enough time in an hour. We sincerely hope you've enjoyed this week's program, and we look forward to seeing you next week on another Shootin' Show.